just you. Come on in. Welcome to the Scumm Bar. Welcome to the Scumm Bar Podcast, episode 67, where we talk movies, video games, pop culture, books. Yarvis yanked his ankle at yoga, and Yolanda yelled out in surprise, and everything in between. I'm your host, Mattbrush, and with me today is my co-host,
a very curious Anth0z.
I wanted to do an alliteration, so I searched him up, and I found that one, and I was like, what is this? What is this? So I just wrote it, and I was like, I wonder if I can say that.
Well, you did it. Great. It was perfect.
I tried. I practiced. Took a few nights rehearsing, but I got it.
You piqued my interest with all of your yees.
Yolandas.
Your yo sounds. Who's Yarvis?
I don't know. Yarvis is such a funny name. Yolanda and Yarvis.
Well, I know a Yolanda. I've never heard of a Yarvis.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was kind of like, you know, when J, well, I guess it's an H. Like a J sound.
Oh, yeah.
In
like
Spanish
Jose.
is yeah, Jose.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe this is like, it's like a silent Q. It's a Y or something.
Anth0z, how you doing today?
I'm doing. How are you doing?
I'm doing as well. I'm definitely doing, you know. I got a new puppy. I officially got my new puppy. Papa.
And she's so cute.
Little Kova has been introduced into the Scumm Bar family.
Yes. And one day she's going to be barking on this podcast with us.
I'm sure she will. In fact, you may hear her whining in the background because my fiance is trying to trait train her.
Crate
train her a little bit, and you know, she's pretty much training us at this point a little bit. We our whole bed is out in the living room, and it's next to her dog bed, so we're sleeping out there with her right now. But she's needing to learn a little bit of independence, and she's getting a little zany, so we're trying to put her in her crate and just give her timeouts sometimes. But she howls. Blue healer, so, well, she's actually red healer, but she's a healer, so she does a lot of howling. Oh!
It's always good to have a healer around.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
My fiance's dad came by, and he had a bad foot, and she started licking the foot, and he's like, I'm healed!
Oh, great. Oh, perfect. Yeah, you don't have to use items. You could just use...
It's great, yeah.
Her.
Just buy a little mobile healer, and you're good to go.
Yeah. Perfect.
What's new with you, Anth0z?
What is new with... Oh, you know what? Okay, so I have become recently extremely obsessed with Korean dramas.
Korean dramas?
I never thought that I would, because like I feel like we're kind of past the point where all of a sudden K-pop or Korean pop culture peaked already, like in North America. Like, I'm not saying that it has fizzled down. Like, it's still pretty strong, but it's like I'm like a very late adopter to the scene, but I am enjoying it so much. And so far it's really just watching what's on Netflix. I haven't dived into other stuff.
What's a Korean drama on Netflix?
So two that my wife and I finished watching. One is called Crash Landing on You.
I'm writing it down. Yep.
Nice. And the other one is Itaewon Class.
Itae.
Yeah, Itaewon Class.
And are these both subtitles?
They have subtitles.
Sorry, are these both shows with subtitles is what I meant to say.
Yeah, well, I think on Netflix you have the option for a lot of shows, like which language you want to see it in or hear it in. But yeah, so these ones, it's spoken in Korean and it has English subtitles. I didn't check what other variations they have. We also started watching Hospital Playlist. So all these shows are completely different from each other, but I think they're the kind of shows that I just like to
watch.
I can resonate with, and I can sympathize with the characters, or they're maybe just things that I like seeing in characters, because they're not necessarily what I'm used to watching in American shows.
Right.
They're quite different. Like the acting is different, the quirkiness is different, and the obviously like the dialogue is completely different. And I don't know if it's because it could just be the translation that comes out of it. Like it's not quite accurate, but they could just be their language, like that's just how they speak. And yeah, some of the cheesiness is or maybe I don't know if it's cheesy to them, but it's cheesy to me only because that's what I would say that's cheesy in an American show.
Right.
But maybe in this context, it's not so much. So, anyway, yeah. Either way, I've really enjoyed what I've been watching. Itaewon Class, especially. I won't talk too much about it, but I really liked it because I find that it shares some overlapping concepts with what I really like about the anime One Piece.
Oh, okay.
And it really, what I like about it is that it's the characters stick to like their principles. They're very unwavering, and they inspire others because of that. So I won't say anything more. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody, but if you like it, and that's cool.
I'm looking at images online. It definitely looks interesting. So I'll check it out. There's no harm in checking it out.
Yeah.
Before we get into anything, Anth0z, would you like to hear a pirate joke? Usually. All right. Well, let's go with this one then. What's the worst thing about dating a pirate?
There's scurvy.
There's scurvy.
I don't know what. You
don't know if he's winking at other women, or just blinking. You don't know.
Every single pirate has an eye patch.
Might be blinking. Cool. That's the worst thing about dating a pirate.
I think there could be some worse
things.
There
could be.
Yeah.
Well, Anth0z, right. let's do something we haven't done in like 4 weeks now. Let's go into ye old news.
Ye old news.
Let me just start it by saying, if anybody doesn't know, the ye old news of the Scumm Bar podcast is that we've recently introduced a whole new segment of the Scumm Bar podcast called the Marvel Movie Marathon. And that's taken up a little bit of our time, so we're doing less of our Scumm Bar podcast episodes. So they're going to be bi-weekly while we have this Marvel Movie Marathon going off in the background. So because of that, we have quite a bit of news actually talking about that we're just kind of trying to go through here and sorting out on our side. But we also took a tiny 1-week break because we were trying to set up for that marathon. But everything should be going back to normal from now on, but bi-weekly for these episodes.
Mm-hmm. So sorry, but thanks for your patience.
And we hope you enjoy the movie marathon segment. It's pretty fun so far. We just finished The Incredible Hulk, and we're moving on to Iron Man 2. So
yeah, I'm really looking forward to how the rest of that goes on.
Me too.
It's exactly. It's not unlike anything we normally do. It's just now that we have a structure to it.
Yeah.
And so the expectations are still there, but I think it's just fun. We get more chance to go through like and analyze and just put our opinions
really
on
go in
stuff,
depth.
Yeah. Sometimes we hold back, right?
But
yeah, it's nice. It's fun. I like it.
And I'm sure you've got lots of news you want to go through. So why don't we switch on to something else?
As in not news?
No, some other news you've got.
Sure. Okay. So this is a little bit old news, and it is about Taika Waititi that he's going to direct and co-write a new Star Wars feature film.
Oh, I didn't know this.
So it's not confirmed which story it'll be based on, and I don't think they've confirmed exactly when it's going to take place. As in when they're going to release the movie, but I think this was I think there's some conjecture about, some rumors about some of the past movies that Kevin Feige presented a little bit a while back,
right?
And I guess people are not quite sure if one of the movies that he presented will be the one that Taika Waititi takes on, but we'll see. And I think it's not the first time that Waititi has been a part of some Star Wars related thing, because I know that did he direct? I think he directed the last episode, the season finale of The Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
So he's had a chance to touch on the Star Wars universe already. So, but I like what he does. I like Jojo Rabbit. It was fun. I definitely like Thor Ragnarok. I can't remember what else he's been a part of in the MCU, but I'm looking forward to see what comes out of that for him in Star Wars. That could be cool.
If anyone could do it, it could be him. And this is one of the hardest things a Star Wars movie could ever be. Or this would be the hardest Star Wars movie to ever sell. But if anybody could do it, it'd be him. A Jar Jar Binks movie. I feel like he should do it. It would be so hard, and from the title, everyone would go like, why am I watching this? But also, if you get people on it because it's good, they're all going to be like, I can't believe it, but it's amazing, It would be such a good way to resurgence with this whole we hate Jar Jar Binks thing into now he's a great character.
Yeah.
I feel like he can do it.
Yeah, and Taika would have to play the part of Jar Jar.
Probably. I bet you Jar Jar would have like a cousin, and he would play his cousin. Watch this happen. Watch this happen in like a year. We're gonna be like, we called it. Like,
he's gonna be Tai Winks.
Ooh, and he flies a TIE fighter.
While winking at people.
Anyways, let's move on to something else. I was gonna just talk about how Christopher Nolan's Tenet movie was gonna be waiting for theaters to reopen to at least 80%.
You were gonna talk about it, but you're not gonna talk about it anymore.
Well, I was gonna say that they were gonna release when theaters were like 80% open around the world. But then the trailer came out, so now I'm talking about, hey, Tenet's got a trailer, and you can watch it.
Yeah, I think they have. It's their second trailer. I think.
Yeah, this was like a full trailer though, like really showing the movie.
Right.
Seemed interesting. I'm not the biggest Christopher Nolan fan. I think he's a little bit larger than life sometimes, but this was interesting, and I'll check it out. The biggest surprise for me was Robert Pattinson and like acting. Like he's a good actor. I think I'm starting to realize that really late. I think people said he was a good actor a long time ago, and I just never believed it. But
like pre, during, or post Twilight?
I think post Twilight. Well, no, I think during Twilight maybe even people were like, yeah, he's a good actor, but I was like, I don't see it. I don't think he is at all. But now I look at him, and my fiance and I were rewatching Goblet of Fire recently, and I was like, he's really good in this movie. Like, I don't know if maybe I'm changing. I have no idea, but I just thought he was really good in that movie. And then I've seen commercials, or trailers, I should say, for The Lighthouse. And then now seeing the trailer for Tenet, I'm like, geez, he's got a lot of range that I wasn't expecting. And I'm also excited for him to play Batman, obviously.
Batman,
so I think this is good. This is a good thing. So I liked the little bits of him I saw in the Tenet trailer. I thought that was cool.
Okay. I'm really looking forward to that movie. I don't know if I'm necessarily specifically a Christopher Nolan fan, but something about this movie just feels very Inception-esque.
Yes.
And I enjoyed watching that movie, and so that makes me want to watch this.
I think it's guaranteed with Christopher Nolan you can go to the theater and have a good experience, regardless. So yeah, I like that. I mean, he's very good at making a blockbuster film, so I'll definitely give him that. I'm not going to say he's a bad director. I do think sometimes his stuff is taken a little bit too far by fans. Okay. That being said, though, it's always fun to watch. And Interstellar made absolutely no sense to me, but it was a fun movie for sure. It just made no sense to me.
Right.
But so
that was fun.
That's my news. What else you got?
Okay, I got a couple things. So one, a little bit of sad news, but it's still kind of relevant to what we normally talk about. So the God of War motion caption mocap. So the mocap actor, who is also a former WWE superstar named Shad Gaspard, passed away.
Oh.
And I think that's also a little bit of older news, but it's pretty tragic actually. Like he was swimming with his son, and then they got caught in a riptide, and he saved his son, but I guess like just after saving his son, the riptide like pulled him back in and swept him away, and I think they found his body sometime after. So it's pretty sad, but I guess it's tragic, but at the same time, what a great dad.
Yeah, he died doing something very heroic. That is a
very heroic,
very noble story, but also a very sad death.
Yeah. So, sorry to hear that for his family, but I think that I feel like maybe he leaves just with the little I know about him, that's a pretty good legacy. Just somebody who inspires people through the work he does in wrestling, because I know like people can really cling on to wrestlers and enjoy.
Yeah. Well, they're role models.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's exactly what they are, right? I also remember. Sorry, side note, but I remember hearing some UFC UFC fighters speak about wrestlers and saying like, the UFC fighters they train to like fight each other like hand to hand. They're really taking hits and stuff like that. But they give props to the wrestlers, because the wrestlers, it's not just their showmanship, but they also go through like it's not all fake, right? The story sure is fake, but the pain and the physicality, everything that they go through, that is real, right? Like it's really a person that is falling like 2 stories from like the top of a cage onto the wrestling mat, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very real thing, and people can really cling on to and be inspired by those kind of people, by wrestlers. I think God of War itself also has like a good following. People really enjoy the franchise. And yeah, and he did a great thing as a father, saving his son in that moment. So yeah.
Yeah. Good for him.
On a lighter note, there was some more gameplay shown off of the open world of Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, I don't know this game much. I just saw the E3 demo back in like 2017, I think 2018.
Yeah, or maybe even before.
Yeah,
that.
I'm not sure. It was it looked interesting enough. I was kind of cool with it. It was an interesting direction, but it was like, yeah, the game was so far off that I wasn't that intrigued, because I was like, it'll be a long time before this game releases, and it's most likely going to be a launch title for PS5 anyways. But now it looks like it is going to be a late PS4 game with like a re-release on PS5, I think.
Yeah, so I felt the same when I saw that back in E3, like however long ago. I wasn't as intrigued. Like I thought, okay, that looks kind of cool and gameplay looks all right.
Yeah.
Not the kind of thing that I'm necessarily into. But now seeing what they've developed up until this point, the environment just looks so beautiful, and the what I thought was kind of cool in the gameplay is switching the different kind of like samurai stances. It's almost it's almost like elements, kind of like the Avatar, where you've got at least you could see that he's got the stone stance and the water stance. So he's probably got some sort of like wind and fire stance, right?
Yeah.
But, it's cool. You're getting to switch between those in the middle of combat, and for some reason they showed off like the article itself. I think it was on Kotaku. Yeah, it's Kotaku, and the title is "New Ghost of Tsushima gameplay shows off open world exploration, fox petting." So you eventually run and follow this fox, and then you can catch up to it and pet it. So
hey,
cute.
I'm all for petting animals in games. That's totally fine by me.
It's therapy, but yeah, it looks really good. I'm super intrigued now, and I'm a little bit disappointed that I didn't pre-order it back before, but them's the breaks.
Dems be those breaks. Those Tsushima breaks.
Yeah. Exactly.
Ghost of Sashimi. Yeah. I'm probably not the first person to make that joke, but that's now what I'm calling that game. Speaking of games, is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater getting HD re-release now. The original Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 are getting HD re-release on PS4.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I used to love those games, man.
Me too. I don't know why.
Yeah, I know.
But
that was just a time of classic video games when sports games were really popular. Like Cool Borders was big. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was big. Like everyone would love playing those games and just grinding on rails and playing multiplayer. There was like Horse. You would play multiplayer with friends and stuff. Like,
yeah. Match the combo.
Yeah. And in the Tony Hawk games, you have to collect VHS tapes, I believe. It was like real tapes and stuff. Anyway, so you do all that in the remake too. So it's I saw some of the video footage and it looks pretty decent. Yeah, I probably won't play it because it's all kind of just nostalgia. But I did used to play the first and second one a lot. So
I think was there a third one?
There was a third and fourth, and then Underground, and then I don't remember after that.
Okay. So whichever one is the one that came on in GameCube is the one that I played.
I think fourth.
GameCube.
Third, fourth, Underground. I don't remember. But they also had
Tony
a
Hawk's
secret...
Pro Skater 3.
Oh yeah, they had a secret character for all the different consoles too. So on PC they had like the Doom Marine was in there. On PlayStation, I believe they had Spider-Man. I don't know who they have for like Xbox, but there was one of them had Wolverine in it. The Darth Maul was in one.
What?
Yeah, they had all these secret characters in all of them. It was kind of fun. I don't know who GameCube had.
Unlockable characters. Xbox.
Secret character. Oh, one of them had the Neversoft Eye was a character.
Neversoft Eye?
Yeah, the eyeball itself.
This reminds me, did you ever play the game 1080 Snowboarding?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
I've seen it before, but I've never played it, no.
Okay, so yeah, I played that on N64, and for most of the characters you choose between, they're actual humans, but then you could eventually choose some sort of like weird panda or something, or you can choose like this weird silver crystal person with like a crystal snowboard. It's just funny that the kind of stuff that they used to implement in the game is just to make it a little bit more fun.
Actually, so I'm looking at the GameCube one right now. It does look like you got Darth Maul, Wolverine, and the Neversoft Eyeball. All three of them were in that game.
Man.
Yeah, they were secret characters.
Jeez.
Yep.
Oh, that's so
I didn't realize Darth Maul and Wolverine were in the same title. That seems weird to me, but yeah, apparently.
I gotta see what that looks like.
Yeah, I used to play as Wolverine a lot. I remember that. That was fun. There's a cruise ship level, and we played that one and go in the half pipes all the time.
Wolverine, Tony Hawk. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Darth Maul.
I know.
Oh, that's even cooler. Oh, man.
And then the Doom Marine one was on the PC version, I believe.
It's just funny that like Darth Maul still has his lightsaber.
I
Like,
know.
he has to be holding it, and like he's dual wielding too.
Yeah.
And he. Oh, you can get combos for spinning the saber. Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Sorry. Anyway, yeah.
No problem.
Any more news on your end?
I got a little bit more. I think you've also got this one, the Unreal Engine 5 release.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was interesting. I don't have too much to say about it, but I watched the video and the graphics look good.
It does, but I don't know if it's like my monitor or just my eyes are not trained enough, but like I guess it's a little bit like it looks obviously really good. I'm just not sure if I'm attaining or if I'm understanding or taking in exactly what I'm supposed to be getting from it. Like is the purpose of it to show like realism?
I don't know. To me, the graphics look about the same as PlayStation 4 games or Xbox One games at this moment. What I think they're trying to explain is that they're able to have that amount of graphic fidelity on even like smaller images. So they were able to have like not an avalanche, but like a rock tumble kind of thing happen. And they were saying every rock itself had like even the tiniest particles of it, the polygons that were creating those rocks were all with that same graphics fidelity as like the main character, which is something that games don't do. They normally try to blend in and smooth out those graphics.
He says something like each particle has like a million triangles
right.
or something like
but
that.
I mean, that is also just kind of tech demo talk. Like, I don't know how much that really matters and how much games will utilize that. The other thing is that I think they spent a lot of time working with the Unreal Engine to make it so the film products can be used in the video game world. Much as we talked about with Mandalorian, how Mandalorian uses virtual environments to create the Mandalorian scenes. So it's all kind of green screen with 3D environments and filmed in a 3D thing that's not there. It's kind of a video game environment around actors. Well, I think this is trying to say we're using those environments, but now for your game as well, which is really interesting if they could pull that off. But I feel like you would need processing power like crazy to actually get like Mandalorian-like levels in a video game. Is that I don't know, that even like the modern PCs today, I feel like would struggle with that. But consoles, like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to see. I think technology itself, like, I mean, parts for like PC parts and the consoles, they're coming out with better technology than the current generations, but we just have to see like how that's going to be handled, especially with whatever games that that developers try to make to utilize the engine. So and
what else you got?
That's it for me for news.
Okay, that's it for me too then. We're all good on news then.
All right.
Anth0z, why don't you take it away with your topic number 1?
All right. So I don't think it's just BC at this point. Actually, in fact, I'm sure a lot of other places around the world have already started transitioning back towards some form of normal. Currently, we are in phase 2, and so that means for us, there are restaurants allowed to open at half capacity, and with specific hygiene and cleanliness regulations. I believe barbers are opened up now. Non-essential like hospital and doctor visits and stuff like that are available now. So basically slowly bringing things back into place, but at the same time the restrictions are still there, or the suggestions to distance yourself and wear a mask, wear gloves if you can, not for protecting yourself, but to protect other people. Washing your hands and sanitizing, all that kind of stuff. So I guess like I'm curious to see or to think about what transitioning back to normal actually looks like. And so like all the things that I just listed now are really the more of like the non-individual aspects, non-personal stuff. I don't know if that's the right word to say, but these are the regulations that the government has placed onto activities or leisure stuff or what the things that people would have to normally go out for, right? So, including like going for groceries. Like everything has some sort of regulation. And so as we're transitioning back, phase 2 allows us to be a little bit looser with being strict in our hygiene and stuff. But what exactly does it look like to you to start transitioning back into what is normal, as in like what life was like before COVID even started. Because for me right now, I'm even struggling to still kind of like go out to a park without kind of hesitating, thinking like, oh, is this a good idea? Because I'm gonna be close to people and we're gonna touch stuff without even really thinking about it. Like I'm so kind of, I'm almost like completely hardwired already, and we haven't really been in this phase for too long, but I guess it is long enough. So yeah, the transition for me, I know it's already kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's different for me because I've been going to work this whole time. And the town I live in is a smaller town that doesn't treat it really the same way. They've been very loose with the rules, I should say. So my life hasn't really changed. And I've got so much going around at the house here to worry about. Projects in the house I'm worrying about with my fiance, and then, getting a puppy and all that. So for me, like, I haven't noticed the transition. The only thing is that she works in a restaurant. So for her, the restaurant is now calling her back, and she's taking on some shifts now, because of obviously the new changes there, which is a little bit tough for us because we were getting the puppy and we were kind of hoping for just a little bit more time where there was going to be some isolation there. But that's okay, and we'll make that work. But I don't know. It hasn't been tough for me, only because I almost made that choice way back when, I guess. I mean, we obviously practice safe distancing with people at my work and all that, but it's just, I don't know, my lifestyle's minimally affected by this whole thing, so it's not that big of a deal. The only thing I'll say is that we do go for walks in our residential area, which is fine, but there's one public like cemetery that we normally go through, but we have stopped during this whole COVID thing, and I can see it being a little weird going back through that, even today. Like, we haven't done it yet because we can't take the dog out for a walk yet while she's a puppy, but she hasn't had her shots, I should say. But when we do and we go through there, I'm gonna be hesitant. I can see myself being like, well, should we, or should we just wait that extra month or something, before making that choice? I can see myself saying like that. I do find myself a little bit too lax though in some things because I wasn't affected as much as other people. I think I should be a little bit more worried about it, or thinking about it a little bit more than I am. Recently we went and got the puppy, and we went to a lot of different places. We traveled a whole bunch, and I can tell you it wasn't really on my mind during most of it. It wasn't really on my mind at all. So I traveled across all of BC pretty much in the last weekend, and I didn't think much about, we did hand sanitizing and all that, but I was doing it more for the puppy's sake than I was for any kind of COVID thing. So just a side note, my puppy's name is Kova, and it has nothing to do with COVID, but it just is annoying how they sound fairly similar. So
Jeez, I knew that, and that didn't even dawn on me.
My mom was bringing it up, and she's like, "Is that because of?" And I'm like, "No, just happened."
Yeah. What an interesting reason to name your dog something because of a pandemic.
Yeah, that would be kind of weird.
Yeah. So maybe that is even that's part of the answer is that for those who have already kind of accepted, or who have kind of transitioned already, or have kind of made a choice in one way where they're not necessarily bogged down as much as they need to be with all the regulations and stuff, that maybe that's what makes it easier. Because I mean, it's so, what I find interesting is that we have so many, it seems like we have various levels of comfort across the board with how people are willing to be close to one another, or go out, wear masks, like all that kind of stuff. So I know that the first weekend, actually it was the weekend before BC even lifted or loosened some of their practices, that the parks were already getting loaded full of people.
Yeah.
In BC, I think in Vancouver specifically, and obviously it's happening elsewhere, but I can really only speak to BC. But I think like thousands of warnings were given out by officers. Yeah. I don't know if it went really further than that, but I think that obviously caused concern to the ministry, because they don't want to loosen things, and then all of a sudden that's why we have the second breakout.
Of course,
I think they talk about having the second wave and third wave. It is bound to happen only because of the natural path or natural trajectory of these diseases, of like flu-like symptoms and stuff like that, right? But But to have it happen because people are just not being safe is a completely different reason. And so, yeah, I think that's probably why I thought about it, because I thought that during this transition period that we would sort of, it would make more sense to me to see like a slow return. But it seemed like people were just so, or the people that would go to the parks that filled it were just aching so much just to get out that it, that it just kind of superseded everything else. And
right.
And it's it's just interesting to think about how, like, their comfort level versus other people's comfort level who still, like, for example, in my building, I think it might have been last week or the week before. So it was after the restrictions had loosened, and there was one person in the elevator when the door opened for us to go in. But then she noticed that we were coming in, and she's like, "Oh, no," and like put her hands up. And it didn't seem like she was sick, but it just seemed like her comfort level didn't allow her to be anywhere nearby people.
Right.
And then at the other end of the spectrum, we have parks full of people that are like side by side.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of happened to me. It's funny, I don't mean to be that person. I wouldn't go to the park. Like, if I was over in Vancouver, for example, I wouldn't go to Stanley Park. I wouldn't go to a public area. That being said, I was in New West recently, and I walked the boardwalk. But I liked it because everyone was, social distancing within the boardwalk. So you can still walk along the board, and I think that's fine. And I liked that it was open. It's just that, everyone, it's kind of up to people's discretion. Just make sure you're, washing your hands, going through it safely in a way where you're keeping your distance. But when I was off I was in Armstrong in BC there, just a small little town. And I was there, and I was at some friend's house. I was with some friends at their house, and their neighbor had just walked by, and he came in and he started talking to all of us, and I outstretched my hand, and I was like, "Hi, nice to meet you." I was like, and he didn't take it. He's like, "No." He just didn't know what to say. He was like, "No." And then I was like, "Oh, right." And I just felt so dumb in that moment. I was like, "Why did I do that?" But it was first instinct. My mind was instantly to like, "I'll meet you. I'll just say hi," and it was just a weird thing. And also friends in Vancouver, I went for a hug as well and didn't think about it there either. So just 2 moments over the weekend where I just wasn't thinking about it. So it clearly has not hit me in that sense. But I'm not one of those people that would want to go to the park with the public people or anything like that. I'm just not thinking about it in the sense of being. I've never really liked being in crowded areas, anyways. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's just another layer that comes into play. But I think. Yeah, I think you make a good point that, like, because like we have these natural instincts, like things that we were so accustomed to doing that they're still there, and we still have the urges, but we're physically trying to, or we're actively trying to resist in those things. Yeah. And I think that's even going to make the transition still a bit weird, because then we're making everything, or not. I shouldn't keep saying we, but I know that I will be thinking back and forth, like both ways. Like as we're getting to the point where we can start shaking hands, I'll still be thinking like, oh, I shouldn't be shaking his hand. Oh wait, I can shake his hand. Right. Or wait, should I? Like I'll be questioning kind of like back and forth.
A funny and dumb example of this is when I was a kid, I would see dandelions just in a field or like in a school or something like that, and I'd kick them, and I'd just watch them all blow away, and it'd be fun. It'd be some stupid little thing, right? I get a house, and then my fiance is telling me don't kick the dandelions because then they're spreading their seed all over our lawn, and I'm like, oh yeah, whoops. So then I'm like carefully trying to take dandelions over to like our compost or just like into our green bin or something, and just getting rid of the dandelions. Then we're going for a walk, and we're at a school, and I see a dandelion, and my first instinct's to kick it. I get my foot ready, and I'm just about to kick the dandelion, and then my brain's like, wait, no, stop, because you're gonna spread the seeds everywhere all over your lawn.
And then you kick your own ankle and you trip.
But I get in this weird stage where I'm like literally like I'm like spazzing almost, like I'm like compulsing right by this dandelion with my foot, and my fiance like sitting like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm having an internal struggle. Like it was dumb. It sounds like some stupid joke, but it was a real thing that happened to me. My foot like hesitated, and I didn't know what to do because I was like, I wanted to kick this dandelion, but my brain has told me not to do it because of my property anymore. And I feel like that's gonna be us with our handshakes. That's gonna be us with our handshakes and our hugs and all that stuff. We're gonna go for it, and then, like you said, we're gonna hesitate. Like, oh, I shouldn't do. Oh, wait, can I? Oh, ooh. You're not gonna know what to do. You're gonna go back and forth a whole bunch. So,
if somebody were to do a time lapse, like we always just see it's like it's streaks because people just kind of just push forward.
Yeah.
Or, like they go from left to right or right to left.
Yeah.
But in that time lapse, we probably see like a little jitter. Like we'd see that streak, and then all of a sudden it stops and like it vibrates for a little bit and then goes forward. And we're just gonna see that all over the place.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see when we actually get to that point. I mean, if we get to that point, I don't really know if we will. I know that I've also been guilty of. Oh no, I haven't. Well, not that I've been guilty, but it was for work where I had to meet somebody new, and I. Like usually we're walking up to each other, and in my head I'm thinking like, okay, I'm about to greet this person. What comes with the greeting? Well, I say my name, I shake his hand or hit his or her hand, like I extend my hand.
Yep.
I was very cognizant of not doing it this time, but the person that was approaching me, I noticed kept like inching more forward, and he was kind of turning his body as if like he was about to outstretch like that limb.
Yeah.
And so I had to kind of keep like leaning back in a way, and it just felt really awkward. But I think he got it in the end. Like he looked kind of like, wait, what's going on? Oh, okay, I think right. And it's funny just seeing like the wheels turning throughout all this. It's interesting, but it's also weird.
Well, my fiance's dad and I always have like almost every time we're near each other we have a beer. So we're gonna have a beer and we like clink glasses and cheers. But since this whole thing, we haven't really known what to do, so we started doing this thing where we just flick the beer. So we just look at each other and just flick the beer, so it does like a cheers noise and stuff. But it's almost become like a new thing. I'm feeling like maybe this will be like the thing after Corona. It's just like, even when it's all safe and good and done, we'll just still flick a beer as like our cheers thing, right? Like maybe it changes the culture after that.
Yeah, probably. Actually, that's a good point, because people, I keep generalizing people, but I don't mean to. Just a habit.
Sometimes it's easier to tell a story when you generalize people. It doesn't necessarily mean anything bad. It just is an easier way to tell a story.
Okay, very true. So I'm sure there are examples of where, for whatever reason, like the environment has changed, and because of that, there are new kind of like social norms that come out of it, right? So there will probably be social norms that come out of COVID-19 that will carry forward, and it'll just be. I wouldn't say it'll be like a trend, but it'll just be a thing. It'll be established because that's how it was, and maybe there's nothing wrong with like carrying
like
forward.
When we meet each other now, we shake feet. Then there you go. We'll just shake feet. That'll be the new way.
We do the kid and play. We do the hip hop dance move, the kid and play.
There you go. And in the future, they'll be like, did you know that the reason that when we greet each other we do the kid and play is because of coronavirus back in 2019? Like, wow. Exactly. Oh, wow. Crazy facts from history.
Man, I never thought about that. Like way in the future when they talk about this moment in life or in time. Yeah. Oh, interesting. What an interesting thought. Anyway,
I'm full of them.
You are. I didn't really have much to say about this. I'm just kind of curious, like what transition looks like to you, and
I don't know.
I'm not even sure exactly what it looks like to me.
I don't know if I'm deflecting by like trying not to think about it or something, or if I honestly have just not thought about it. But it's been a busy time for me, so it's just everyone's. I'm not gonna say everyone's complaining about coronavirus, but there's just a lot of people. It's on their mind constantly, right? They don't really have much else to talk about because it's really hard to distract yourself from it, and I totally understand that. But for me, like I just can't. I can't afford to be thinking about it because I've got so many other things I have to worry about right now, or not necessarily worry about, but focus on. So,
and I think that's fine. I think that's just fact, right? Like in the same way that transition will be different for everybody, it's the same that COVID affects everybody differently. Yeah. Some people get affected much more than others, and that's just how it is. Like there's no right or wrong about it, really.
Wrong.
I mean, other than doing what you can to keep people safe, right? And abiding by the law and stuff. But otherwise, the way that you might feel is different from how you're going to react.
Interestingly enough, when I picked up the puppy from the farm, it was from a breeder on a farm. We drove the car in, but the farm's gates were closed, so we couldn't drive the car into the farm. So we parked the car, got out, and right at the farmer's fence, like traditional farmer's fence, she had her desk and table and all that set up, and like 2 lawn chairs out there, and she was sitting there and had all the papers. So we just kind of would like talk to her through the fence. And then when she gave us the puppy, she actually just like reached over the fence with the puppy and gave her to us. So it was like, oh, interesting. This is an interesting way to do it. So we're not like really, there was no social interaction other than her handing the puppy to us. So It was just a interesting thing, I guess. I don't know how else this would have been. We probably normally would have gone on that farm, probably gone through a tour of the farm, like she had mentioned, and seen some of the animals, the goats and the horses and all that, and like had much more of a conversation. But because of this whole thing, it was kind of like get in, get out. Which I gotta admit, after like the 8-hour drive, I was really, really happy to just get in and get out. But
oh yeah, I bet. And see life other than the two of you in your car.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my topic. Thanks for humoring me.
Hey, no problem. Interesting. Okay, well, let's move into something I like to call topic number 2. I was gonna do the
topic number 2.
So for my topic, I'm totally switching gears here. Over the weekend when I stayed at some friends' houses, some friends of mine's house. I mean, how do I say that?
The houses of my friends.
There you go. The houses of my friends. I was at their house, and my fiance and I were there with the puppy, and they wanted to show us the tabletop game Catan, which I'd never played before. And obviously, it's a very popular game, and people played a lot. And I've heard a lot about it, but I've never got to actually sit and play a full game. So we played one, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But that's actually not my topic. We had a lot of fun with it, but we're all, obviously because of this whole COVID thing, nobody's really hanging out at friends' houses and playing board games or tabletop games all that much, because it's kind of what you're not supposed to be doing right now. So there is an interesting game I used to play on Steam back in the day. And by back in the day, I mean probably 4 years ago or so. I was really into it. Okay. And this game, Catan, like it kind of just clicked for me at this moment. I was like, oh, in case anybody doesn't know they can do this, they should totally know about this. But there's a game that I mentioned before, but it's called Tabletop Simulator. So Tabletop Simulator is just like it sounds. It's a simulator game for tabletop games. So you go in and it's a fully 3D environment of a game, but it's kind of like, it kind of gives you a bunch of like tools almost for like being able to pick up objects, drag objects, flip objects, rotate objects, inspect them, all those kinds of things. And then it leaves everything up to the modders. So the modding communities in the PC gaming world have made all these different board games that you can play. And there's things from like chess and like Reversi and all that stuff that's free you can play. Or other people mod like actual tabletop games. So Settlers of Catan is in there. Like the Munchkin series is all in there. I see Secret Hitler is in there. And what's that one? Ticket to Ride. I've seen all of them just recreated in this tabletop simulator, and people play them there, and it's amazing. Like, I never knew how to play Munchkin until I played it once in Tabletop Simulator, and I met like 8 other people online and would just talk and hang out with them, and they would teach me this game. And I was like, what a great experience. And that was like 4 years ago. Yeah. But what a great experience for right now. With this whole thing going on and people not being able to socialize, this game is only socialize. It's really all you can do if you're playing. There's really no other way to figure out this game than to socialize with others and figure it out. And I was just checking out just before this podcast, and I just wanted to see if there was something interesting on there, and I saw Risk, and I joined a game, but I was spectating. I was watching other guys play Risk, and there's something so much better than just if it was an online Risk game. People would be clicking on like countries, and there'd be interactions to play and all that. And this is literally like people picking up the pieces, you know? You pick up the virtual piece and you're moving it over to the virtual square, and like picking up the other virtual piece, and then you get a card, you're flipping over the card, or you're handing cards to other players. And another interesting thing is you get props in the game that you can unlock as you play the game, and like one will be like a can of Coke, or like a Duff beer was one of them that I had, or nice. I had a Dragon Ball, and I had a Death Note. Got all these fun things. So when you're playing, you can have them next to your character and just kind of virtualize it a little bit, as if you're sitting there, and it's like a little piece of you that goes with you to every table you go to.
Cool.
It's a game that's built for VR as well, so it's very interesting to totally like simulate into that experience. So. Yeah.
Oh, that must be really cool integration.
Yeah.
So I was just I'm just looking through Tabletop Simulator on Steam Online. Yeah. And in one of the, I'm not sure what game it is, but in the second thumbnail, the video, if you scrub through to about like between a quarter and a third of the way, it looks like it's a character that you can use or something like that. Or
I'm just pulling up the
Steam kind of like a tabletop piece, and it's Abomination.
Wait, is it really?
And it looks like it's VR.
Are you looking at the one that is got the tree? It's got all the characters on it.
Well, the second thumbnail is the one I clicked on.
For me, the second thumbnail is a chessboard.
And it starts with chessboard.
Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Let's see. Tabletop Simulator. The first thing I see after the Tabletop Simulator splash is there. Oh, it actually looks like VR. This is the VR integration, because it looks like there's a white VR headset on the left and a green VR headset on the right. That's actually the thumbnail.
Oh, okay. You must be looking at maybe a VR version. I thought the regular version was VR, but maybe there's a VR version or something.
This one says VR supported, but I just searched I searched Tabletop Simulator. So this is in, it's on Steam online here. I'm just gonna
weird. Okay, yep. I'm also in the online store, but I'm seeing a different. Like I'm seeing the trailers at the beginning. There's 4 trailers, and then I'm seeing the Dominoes photo
4
next.
trailers.
Let's see if this is the same thing. Yeah. Okay. 4 trailers, and then the first photo is the Dominoes one.
And then skip to about 44 seconds.
Oh, in the trailer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, in the trailer, 44 seconds. Okay, yeah, it's showing a VR thing. There's Abomination?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Holy smokes. That's
it's
weird.
so timely.
Yeah.
That's all.
Wow, that's very interesting.
All that for that.
Crazy. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. That's the for anybody who doesn't know, that's the Incredible Hulk villain, and we just went through that podcast. So, yeah, it's an interesting game though. It's honestly one of those games where it's more of a modded utility tool, kind of like Gary's mod or something, and you kind of leave it up to the community to make the game good or let it fail. And the community has gone crazy with it and made some amazing games. So.
Nice.
Again, you could just go and play chess online with somebody if that's all you're interested in, or somebody could make their own tabletop game and show you it and play it all in the game. They could say like, let's take the packs of Uno and let's take Cards Against Humanity and let's take like a solitaire pack and just throw them all together, and now I've got a game for you. And you're like, oh, okay, and you can try it, and they'll just play it online with a bunch of people. So
I think that's so awesome that you can just get on the game and then connect with people online.
Yeah.
I think it's something that I find, I don't know, maybe is it underrated?
Very.
Like just the concept of going online and connecting with strangers. I mean, obviously there are dangers in connecting with strangers in specific ways, but in this way, I mean, I'd say it's fairly controlled, right? Like you're using a pre-existing platform in order to actually like get online and connect with people and play with them. And I think what's really cool that I remember when I first started playing Diablo 1 was that you are frozen. You are completely frozen. Uh-oh. Is it me? Is it you? Oh, you see my message. You see it.
Hello?
What's happening? Speed test. Oh.
That was weird.
That was weird.
Like, has my screen been glitchy for you at all?
No.
That was really... It was the moment I pressed a Steam video. It was like literally on click, my whole internet went down. Everything went down on my side. See. So it's definitely me. Okay. Like my messenger, everything went down. But like I could check my internet, I was totally connected. I don't know what that was. It can't be the microwave. I'm wired in here, so
exactly. It can't be that. Yeah. Usually when it's the microwave, you start like slowly you gradually get choppy. Yeah. But this was just like instant cut, so I figured it wasn't that.
That was so weird. Okay, well, whatever. We made it almost through the whole podcast, 2 podcasts without any issues. Yeah. So it's still better than the other one. But man, I don't know what happened.
That's fine. I could probably continue and actually like if you cut it, like it would be pretty seamless. I think.
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah. So I remember like before when I first started playing Diablo 1, like on PC, that. That's one of the things that I would do. I would go into a lobby and queue up with people, like complete strangers. I specifically remember this one. I might have even talked about it, but I was a low-level character and everybody else in it was much higher than me. But they wanted to do like a full complete run of the game from beginning to end. And so I remember that me being like a low-level character, that they would be helping me with stuff.
For sure.
And like they didn't think of me as like a mooch or anything like that, right? They didn't think of me as the handicap. Like we were all invested in this thing together, whether or not they're teaching me stuff or helping me or whatever it is. It was like a very it was a very social thing, a social interaction, and it was all online, and it was just super fun, and it's just stuck with me ever since then. I think I was in elementary school. Diablo came out in 1995 or something. I think I might have been in grade 6 or 7. But that moment, that experience, and that was just like a couple hours. I remember I had to leave halfway because it was dinner time.
Oh yeah.
But the others that were playing with, they were like adults, so they didn't have to worry. Yeah. They could just keep playing. And yeah, like it was so memorable. I loved the idea of just getting online and connecting with people that I didn't have to worry about anything outside of the interaction than what I was getting with them in the game. It was just yeah.
No, and I agree too. I had similar experiences on PC, the early PC gaming, where you would play online with just random strangers, and you had a lot of fun. Of course, there's dangers with it too, but it is a very, very fun experience when done right. And this is a game that is built on purely just that online. Well, sorry, you can play single player in this game, but I honestly don't think many people do. But this is a game that's purely built on that social interaction experience, and I really recommend it for people during this whole thing because it's fun to play tabletop games, and you don't need to stop because you can just get this. And I did notice on Steam that if one person owns it, they can do a pass or like a host kind of version, and somebody else can play if they don't own the game. So you can have them come to your table and play just for that one game, you know?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, based on experience, I played 3 different games of Munchkin, had 3 different table leaders teach me the game. And so that was at a time when I had no idea. And I also don't like talking on mic in video games all that much. This was a game where I felt totally comfortable talking on mic. It's very easy to pick up and play and to get to know people and ask questions like, I don't know how to play this, is that okay? And because it's led by other humans. Like there's really no part of it that is the game itself. The game has the same controls as using an operating system like Windows or Mac, right? So it's really just led by other humans teaching you how to play. So yeah. You can also do, if you don't want to do microphone, you could do keyboard. It just does take a little bit longer. But I did play something. I can't remember what game it was, but I played something and they taught me how to play with just the keyboard. Oh, nice. And there's also like Cards Against Humanity and all that stuff too. So people have tables of like 25 people all playing like Cards Against Humanity. So that's really fun.
Cool. Yeah. This is all that like Cards Against Humanity is in Tabletop Simulator.
And all the expansions are in it too.
Wow.
Yeah, all of it.
Do you know if they have do they have code names?
What do you mean? Oh, is that a tabletop game?
It's like card-based game.
I'm sure they do. If you type in code names in Tabletop Simulator, like I'm doing right now, yep, they do.
Oh, cool. Oh, man.
Yeah, and the thing is, there'll be different versions too, because people mod this stuff, right? So somebody will have one version, some will have another version. Some will look really official, some will look kind of like someone just made it or something, right? I played Munchkin one time, and there's an amazing Munchkin tabletop one that somebody built, and there's a really crappy one, and you'd always look for like the amazing one. It looked like it was right from the game, like it was just everything was built like just painstakingly designed to look exactly like the cards, and it was amazing. So I love it.
Nice.
And then when those packs happen and they're really good, you can download those packs so you can use them later. So almost like trading cards, you're trying to find the best tables of all this stuff too, and then keep them so that you can play them with your friends.
Cool.
You can even give them away as prizes. So I was watching a poker game just before we did this podcast, and the guys were giving away like Mario figurines and stuff like that if they won the poker hands. Like so there's like a store afterwards you can go to and buy these like figurines so that you can now go play Cards Against Humanity and have like a little Mario figurine with you or something. So being PC kind of unlocks all that, so you could just kind of have whatever. It reminds me, actually, you know what? It reminds me of what's that book? Ready Player One. It reminds me of Ready Player One. It's just a culture of just a bunch of random people doing what they want, and it's fun. It's really fun.
Oh, actually, that's a good way to put it.
And keep in mind, though, I'm sure the creators don't really want to boast about their game having all these other tabletop games stolen and ripped and played inside of it, but from what I can tell, they're also not going to stop anyone from doing it either. So
yeah. Maybe the scale is just not worth it, I guess. I guess
there is actually, you can buy official games that are done in Tabletop Simulator as well. I noticed there was like Day of the Zed or something. It's like some kind of tabletop game that's also released as a Tabletop Simulator game. So you can buy
Dawn of the Zed.
That's it, Dawn of the Zed. So it looks like it's a physical game as well as a Tabletop Simulator game. So
I'm looking at.
And if you are someone, I have a friend who's making a tabletop game. if you are someone who is making a tabletop game, this is a good way to test it out too. So it's a really good way to like really try your product in a real world example and maybe get some other people around the world playing it to see if it's fun.
Okay. Oh, actually, that's a good idea. Yeah. And I don't know, like maybe the reach of it like spans a little bit further.
Yeah.
Because it's online. It's at people's fingertips, literally. I'm looking through some of the things that they have. There's one called Zombicide. Actually, you know what? I wonder if this Abomination it's not the Marvel reference, but it looks like it.
Just kind of looked like the Marvel Abomination, but it could be anything, really.
I think, it's just in reference to, like, some mutated thing in a apocalyptic world with a bunch of zombies. Still, it's timely.
It is.
It counts. That's cool. Yeah. I like that idea. I like that, and I think stuff like that is kind of bound to happen, that things that we have in, like, the physical world are going to be available to us in the virtual world, right? Yeah.
So. And I'm also a fan of simulator games, so obviously there's a huge bias here on my part. But if you can get into the simulator stuff, and if you enjoy tabletop in any way, and you're really sick of this whole COVID thing and not seeing people, try this. It's fun.
Yeah, cool. I like that.
Well, that is all I've got to say, I guess. That's my topic.
All right,
cool. Well, Anth0z, I'm going to have to ask you, where can the audience find you?
Well, if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at Anth0z1. That's at Anth0z1.
And if you want to find me, you can find me at Mattbrush Gaming on Twitter. Or you can find me at Mattbrush Gaming on YouTube, where I put this podcast in video format for your eyeballs. But
the balls,
if you want to,
not the squares.
Well, if you want to use your ear squares, you can listen on any podcast platform of your choice. We're everywhere. So just
if you want to use your mouth triangle, we don't have an option
not yet,
for you.
But that's coming in 2025 We'll try.
Maybe.
Just type in the Scumm Podcast in any of your podcast platforms and you'll find us on there, or send us an email at thescumbbarpodcast@gmail.com. If you like what you heard today and you're interested in maybe a Marvel sort of spin on things, check out our Marvel movie marathon side project that we're working on right now. It's a lot of fun, and we're going into Iron Man 2 next, so see if you like it.
Iron Man 2, part of our marathon.
We're doing all 22 films? 22, is that right, in the series?
22, yeah. So the MCU except... MCU less Far From Home.
Yeah. All right, Anth0z. Well, I know you've been dying to say this, so let the audience know what you want to say.
Fanboys, dandelions, where do you go? All the time, up and down, but never in the snow. That's all.
What is that?
No questions now. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.